The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. What if I told you that everything you think defines you, your job, your relationships, even your reputation, can vanish overnight, and yet you can still rise stronger than before? Most people panic when life strips them to nothing, believing that losing it all is the end. But Stoicism teaches us a radical truth. Nothing external can destroy your inner strength unless you allow it. Imagine rebuilding yourself from scratch, not just surviving, but creating a version of yourself that's sharper, wiser, and more resilient than before. It's not about pretending pain doesn't exist. It's about using it as a forge to craft a stronger self. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 10 Stoic rules that guide you step by step from emptiness to empowerment. These aren't abstract philosophies. They are practical, actionable strategies that have helped generations endure hardship and emerge victorious. So, if you want to transform setbacks into unstoppable momentum, stay with me till the very end. Every rule builds on the previous one, and missing even one could mean leaving crucial power on the table. Let's start rebuilding from nothing. Number 1, accept reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do happen, and you will go on well. That's Epictetus speaking directly to the heart of this point. Accept reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. When you're rebuilding yourself from nothing, your first, most crucial step is to stop fighting the way things are. So many of us stumble, not because life is unfair, but because we resist the truth of our circumstances. You may feel frustrated, stuck, or even defeated, but the moment you cling to what should have been, what could have been, or what you desperately wish were different, you waste energy that could be used to shape your future. Accepting reality isn't about giving up. It's about seeing clearly. Reminds us, everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. If you can't see things as they are, you're building on sand, not rock. Acceptance means looking at your situation honestly. It's about observing your life without the filter of desire or disappointment. You need to ask yourself, what are the hard truths I have been avoiding? Where am I pretending things are okay when they are not? This isn't a one-time mental note, it's a daily habit. Start by practicing small exercises of acceptance. Each morning, take 5 minutes to scan your life and simply name reality without judgment. Say it out loud if you need to. This is where I am. These are the tools I have. This is the path I must walk. It might feel uncomfortable at first. Your mind resists. That resistance is exactly where your growth lies. You're rewiring yourself to stop pushing against life's current and instead learn to navigate it. Once you accept reality, something remarkable happens. You reclaim control over yourself. You may not control the world, the setbacks, or the delays, but you control your response. You control the energy you bring, the choices you make, and the focus you maintain. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Think about that. The anguish, the frustration, the hopelessness, most of it is constructed in your mind when you refuse to see life as it is. By embracing the present truth, by letting go of imagined alternatives, you free yourself to act. You free yourself to rebuild brick by brick without being weighed down by what might have been. Here's a simple yet powerful exercise. Every evening, reflect on your day and ask, what happened that I cannot change? Identify those moments, name them, and release them. Then ask, what can I influence? Focus your energy there. This trains your mind to accept reality without passivity. You're not surrendering, you're strategically channeling effort into what actually matters. Over time, this practice rewires your perception. What once felt like limitation becomes clarity. What once triggered frustration becomes a prompt for action. You'll notice a quiet confidence emerging because your mental energy is no longer squandered on resisting reality. It's now a tool for creation. Accepting reality also means embracing discomfort without flinching. You may be facing scarcity, loss, or failure, but these are not enemies, they are signals. Stoicism teaches that the obstacle is the way. The moment you stop wishing things were different, you can begin using every constraint, every challenge, every hard truth as a stepping stone. You can build resilience by meeting reality squarely, by practicing daily mindfulness of what is, and by responding with intention rather than emotion. Your rebuilding starts here. Accept reality, not as you wish it, not as a compromise, but as the foundation upon which you can create a stronger, wiser, and more unshakable version of yourself. Number 2, focus only on what is within your control. Imagine for a moment that life has stripped you bare. Everything you thought you could rely on is gone, and you're left standing with nothing but yourself. The instinctive reaction might be panic, blame, or despair, but here's the Stoic truth. The only power you truly have is over your own mind, your own choices, your own actions. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic teachers, said it clearly. Some things are up to us and some are not. That's not just a line to memorize, it's a lifeline. When you rebuild from nothing, the moment you start trying to control what is beyond your reach, you waste energy that should be fueling your own growth. You start chasing shadows, and shadows never satisfy. What you can control, however, is everything about how you respond, how you think, and how you act. That's where your freedom lies. So you have to train yourself to relentlessly separate what is yours to govern from what is. Start by observing your thoughts as if they were clouds passing across the sky. Don't cling, don't push, just notice. The next step is to examine your reactions. Every emotion that hits you, frustration, fear, regret, isn't inherently good or bad. It's only your interpretation of the events around you. And your interpretations are yours to shape. Ask yourself, is this within my control? Can I change this outcome, or only my response to it? The answer will guide your next step. By doing this consistently, you begin to shrink the space where worry and anxiety live. They only exist when you try to wrest control from forces that will never yield. Now put this into practice actively. Every morning, set aside a few minutes to remind yourself, I can control my actions, my thoughts, and my intentions. Nothing else belongs to me. Then, throughout the day, check in with yourself constantly. When someone's words sting or events don't go your way, pause, breathe. Ask, is this mine to control? If the answer is no, let it go. If the answer is yes, take action immediately, decisively, and without hesitation. This is more than a mental exercise. It's a way to reclaim energy you might have been scattering everywhere. By focusing solely on what is within your control, you're reclaiming your agency, your dignity, and your ability to rebuild. Another powerful tool is journaling. Write down the events of your day and clearly mark what you controlled and what you didn't. Reflect on how you handled situations within your power and how you let go of what wasn't. Over time, this practice rewires your brain, reinforcing the habit of discernment. You start to see that your peace, your stability, your ability to move forward depends on this one simple principle. Don't fight the uncontrollable, master the controllable. Writing from the heart of a crumbling empire reminded himself daily, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Finally, make it a habit to consciously choose your focus. Each time your mind drifts toward frustration over something outside your control, snap it back. Redirect it toward your goals, your behavior, your growth. Think of your mind as a garden. If you plant seeds of action and care for them with attention and discipline, they will grow. Wasting your energy on things you cannot influence is like planting in the rocks. You get nothing. But when you invest in what you can shape, every thought, every action becomes a stepping stone toward rebuilding yourself. You have to adopt this relentlessly. The world will always try to drag your attention outward, to make you despair over circumstances, to let you feel powerless. But when you focus on what is within your control, you reclaim your freedom and you create a foundation so solid that no external storm can shake it. Start small, start today, and keep returning to this principle again and again. Because when you master the art of controlling only what is yours, you don't just survive, you rebuild stronger, wiser, and unstoppable. Number 3, let go of attachment to outcomes. Imagine how much energy you waste silently, constantly wrestling with the what-ifs of the future. You plan, you strive, you pour yourself into your work, your relationships, your dreams, and yet deep down, part of you clings to a single, narrow vision of how it all should turn out. The Stoics saw this clearly. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." That's not just advice, it's a lifeline. It's an invitation to breathe freely, to stop chaining your peace to the unpredictable tides of life. Because the truth is, the outcome of any action is never fully yours. What is yours always is how you respond, how you prepare, and how you persevere. Letting go of attachment to outcomes doesn't mean abandoning ambition or giving up on goals. It means learning to love the process, to immerse yourself fully in the effort without gripping the results like a lifeline. Start small. Each day, choose one action, big or small, and focus solely on executing it well, without mentally fast-forwarding to the finish line. Notice how liberating it feels to invest in the moment rather than obsess over the next step. Reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Strength here is freedom. Freedom from the anxiety that comes when your happiness depends on someone else's behavior, a random circumstance, or the approval of the world. One practical exercise is deceptively simple. Before taking any action, pause and ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is yes, commit fully. If it isn't, practice stepping back and releasing the mental hold you've tried to place on it. Picture it as unclenching your hands from a stone you've been gripping for hours. The stone doesn't belong to you, but your hands do, and now they are free. With practice, this becomes a habit, a reflex. Your mind learns to distinguish effort from outcome, action from reward, control from illusion. And with that distinction, you start living untethered from disappointment. Another way to train yourself is through reflection. Each night before sleep, review the day not by what went right or wrong in the external world, but by how you responded to it. Did you act with integrity, patience, and courage? Did you focus on your own effort rather than obsessing over results? In these reflections, you are rewriting your measure of success. You are teaching yourself that your value is not tied to victory or approval, but to resilience, wisdom, and persistent action. The liberation here is profound. When you stop letting outcomes dictate your emotional state, you reclaim your inner calm. You stop being tossed around by the waves of fortune. You no longer see obstacles as personal affronts, but as opportunities to practice the virtues you care about: discipline, patience, courage, and clarity. Seneca reminds us that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Much of the suffering tied to outcomes is a story we tell ourselves, a drama we replay in our minds. Rewriting that narrative begins with the simple act of letting go. So today, start practicing. Choose a single task or decision and immerse yourself completely in the effort, then release the outcome. Watch how your mind lightens, how focus sharpens, how peace creeps into spaces you didn't know were tense. Repeat this. Each time, your attachment loosens a little more. Over time, you won't just be doing tasks. You'll be living with the quiet power of a mind untangled from results. And isn't that the very essence of rebuilding yourself? To act, to grow, to endure, without allowing the unpredictable tides of life to steal your calm or compromise your spirit. That's where true freedom begins. Number 4, embrace hardship as a tool for growth. What if I told you that the very obstacles you dread, the struggles that make your chest tighten and your mind race, are actually the tools you've been handed to rebuild yourself stronger than ever? Stoics like Seneca remind us, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. That's not just a clever saying, it's a blueprint. Every hardship you face, no matter how overwhelming it feels in the moment, is a chance for transformation. The pain, the discomfort, the frustration, they aren't punishments. They are raw materials. And the moment you start seeing them as such, you shift from being a victim of circumstance to an architect of your own life. Hardship becomes growth the instant you stop resisting it. Resistance is what makes pain unbearable. When something bad happens, your first instinct might be to fight it, deny it, or escape it. But imagine for a moment that instead of turning away, you lean into it. Say to yourself, "This is exactly what I need to learn. This is exactly what will shape me." That simple reframing changes everything. You transform fear into curiosity, frustration into focus. And in that space, real growth begins. The Stoics teach that external events are neutral. It's your judgment of them that causes suffering. By embracing hardships, you reclaim the power that fear and frustration would otherwise steal from you. Here's how you can start practicing this immediately. First, each time you encounter a challenge, pause, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what is this situation teaching me? What skill or strength can I build from this? Write it down if you need to. The act of acknowledging a struggle as a teacher is immensely powerful. Then commit to small, intentional actions that confront the discomfort rather than avoid it. If fear of failure is holding you back, deliberately take a step into that uncertainty. If anger or disappointment arises, observe it without judgment and redirect that energy into something constructive. Wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Every obstacle is a doorway, every difficulty a stepping stone, if you let it be. Another practical exercise is to reflect on the impermanence of discomfort. Hardship, by its very nature, is temporary. Even when it feels endless, it will pass. Imagine a storm hitting your life. It might be violent, unsettling, even frightening. But storms always end, leaving the air clearer, the soil richer. When you internalize this, it's easier to endure and even welcome the lessons hidden within struggle. Begin your day by visualizing challenges ahead, imagining how you'll meet them with calm, clarity, and resilience. Train your mind to anticipate hardship not with dread, but with readiness, knowing that each trial polishes you. Finally, embrace deliberate reflection. At the end of each day, review the hardships you faced. Ask yourself what you learned, how you responded, and what you could do differently next time. This doesn't just build resilience, it cultivates mastery over your own mind. Stoicism isn't about avoiding difficulty, it's about using it as a chisel, sculpting your character and your life. The more you practice, the more instinctive it becomes. You start to see discomfort not as an enemy, but as an ally, one that continually pushes you closer to the person you're capable of becoming. So start now. Don't wait for life to hand you a perfect moment. Seek out the small hardships, embrace the minor discomforts, and let them forge you. This is how you rebuild yourself from nothing. This is how you grow unshakable. This is how you turn every obstacle into a tool, every setback into a setup, and every struggle into your greatest teacher. Hardship is not a curse, it's the raw material of greatness. Take it, own it, transform it. Number 5, cultivate self-discipline in every area of life. If you want to rebuild yourself from nothing, you cannot afford to underestimate the quiet power of self-discipline. This isn't about rigid schedules or punishing yourself when you fail. No, true self-discipline is the art of mastering your impulses, choosing what serves your growth over what offers fleeting comfort. Once reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. That power, the one he's pointing to, lives in your daily choices. the tiny actions that pile up into the life you ultimately live. When you wake up, when you eat, when you speak, when you work, every single one of these moments is a fork in the road. Will you let your desires control you, or will you control your desires? That's the essence of self-discipline. Start by examining where your will falters. Maybe it's waking up late, maybe it's scrolling endlessly through things that don't feed your growth, maybe it's reacting impulsively to annoyance or fear. Whatever it is, call it out, own it. Stoics didn't wait for clarity to appear magically, they trained themselves. Epictetus wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." You want freedom. It begins with command over your actions. So here's a practical exercise. Pick one area where you feel weak and commit to a 30-day discipline challenge. It could be waking up 30 minutes earlier. It could be meditating daily. It could be practicing silence before responding in conversation. The key is consistency. You will stumble, but stumble you must. Discipline is forged in the friction between intent and action, in those small daily confrontations where you choose the long term over the short term. Another cornerstone is aligning your habits with your values. It's not enough to simply endure discipline. It must serve the life you are striving to build. Seneca warned against doing things merely because they are hard. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Every decision, from how you use your phone to how you treat yourself after a setback, should be a reflection of who you want to become. Turn mundane actions into deliberate exercises. When you eat, eat with purpose. When you work, work with intention. When you rest, rest with awareness. These micro-practices anchor your will. They are subtle, almost invisible, but over time, they accumulate into something undeniable, a version of you that cannot be shaken by chaos or circumstance. Self-discipline also demands that you embrace discomfort. Growth rarely comes dressed in comfort. To rebuild yourself, you must learn to say no to immediate pleasure in favor of lasting strength. That does not mean denying yourself completely. It means training your mind to understand the difference between what is merely tempting and what is truly valuable. You can practice this through small daily exercises. Resist a craving for distraction. Sit quietly when you want noise. Focus deeply when you want to drift. Each act of restraint is a small victory, a reinforcement that you are not at the mercy of your impulses. With each victory, you cement the foundation of your resilience. Finally, anchor your discipline in reflection. At the end of each day, pause, ask yourself, did I act in alignment with the person I am striving to become? Write it down if it helps. Reflect without judgment but with honesty. Over time, you'll start seeing patterns, moments where your will is strongest and where it falters. Then, refine, adjust, recommit. This continuous loop of action, reflection, and recommitment is the heartbeat of self-discipline. And as you build this muscle, you'll notice a transformation not only in your capacity to endure, but in your sense of inner freedom. You'll begin to understand, as the Stoics did, that the only thing truly in your control is yourself. And that is more than enough to start again from nothing and rise stronger than ever. Number 6, replace resentment with rational reflection. Resentment is like a shadow that follows you around, whispering lies, convincing you that the world owes you something, that someone else's success or misstep is a personal attack. It gnaws at your peace, quietly poisoning your mind, your energy, your sense of possibility. The Stoics understood this, which is why Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Imagine the power in that. You cannot control the actions of others, the twists of fate, or the sharp edges of circumstance, but you can control the lens through which you view them. You have the choice to step back, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, is resentment serving me, or is it chaining me to a story that holds me back? The first step is awareness. Every time you feel that surge of irritation, that gnawing envy, that tight knot in your stomach at someone else's behavior, pause. Don't rush to respond. Don't let your thoughts run wild. Instead, say to yourself, "This feeling is mine. The circumstances are outside my control, but my response is mine." You are reclaiming your authority over your mind. Seneca said, "No man is crushed by misfortune unless he has first been deceived by prosperity." What he meant is that the mind becomes fragile when it builds expectations that reality cannot meet. Resentment comes from those expectations, from imagining the world as it should be rather than as it is. Rational reflection lets you see the world clearly, without the fog of bias, without the weight of imagined slights. Now let's make this practical. When a wave of resentment arises, don't just notice it, interrogate it. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this? What belief am I holding onto that feeds this anger? Is it fair, or is it a fiction I'm telling myself? Write your answers down if it helps. This act forces your mind out of the reactive autopilot and into conscious reflection. It's not about pretending nothing bothers you. It's about refusing to let those annoyances control your actions, your mood, your future. Reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Strength grows in the space where reflection replaces reaction. Another powerful exercise is to reframe the situation. Instead of seeing the world as adversarial, see it as neutral. People's successes, mistakes, or offenses are not personal attacks. They are events, and events do not have the power to harm you unless you give it to them. When resentment creeps in, visualize yourself as a calm observer, standing apart from the drama, examining it like a scientist studies a phenomenon. Ask yourself, what can I learn here? How can this fuel my growth rather than drain my spirit? Every moment of resentment turned into reflection becomes a brick in the foundation of your rebuilt self. Finally, take action to redirect that energy. Rational reflection is not passive. Once you've acknowledged your feelings, once you've dissected them, use them as fuel for purposeful action. Replace brooding thoughts with deliberate steps, perhaps journaling your intentions, setting small goals, or focusing on a skill you can cultivate. By doing this, you transform the corrosive power of resentment into a constructive force. You move from victimhood to mastery. The Stoics teach us that external events are indifferent. What matters is how you engage with them. Resentment may visit, but rational reflection is your guard at the door. Let it in, observe it, learn from it, and then release it. This is how you reclaim your mind. This is how you replace what weighs you down with what builds you up. Replace resentment with rational reflection, and every day becomes an opportunity to rebuild, to grow, to rise stronger than before. Start now. Don't wait. The moment you pause, examine, and choose your response, you take a step toward a life that is your own, unshaken by the whims of fortune, guided instead by your reason, your values, your inner strength. Number 7, reframe failures as lessons, not losses. Imagine for a moment that every setback, every stumble, every moment where you felt the ground give way beneath you isn't a sign that you failed, but a signal that you're learning. The Stoics remind us that life is less about what happens to us and more about how we perceive it. Wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." When you reframe failures as lessons instead of losses, you begin to see every challenge as an opportunity to sharpen your mind, to fortify your character, to build yourself from the inside out. This isn't just a clever philosophical trick, it's a practical, actionable approach to life. You can start doing it today, right now. The next time something goes wrong, pause, breathe. Don't immediately label it as a defeat. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? What insight can I gain? This is not just thinking differently, it's rewiring your instincts. When you start to interpret setbacks as lessons, your mind stops resisting, stops shrinking, stops blaming. Instead, it begins to explore, to analyze, to adapt. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters. Let that sink in. You are not powerless. The moment that seems like the end of the road, that is precisely where your growth starts. You can take a small notebook, for instance, and jot down each failure you encounter. Not to dwell on it or to mourn it, but to dissect it. Write what went wrong, why it happened, what factors were in your control, what factors weren't, and what you can do differently next time. This simple act transforms your missteps into a living manual for rebuilding yourself. But don't stop at reflection, turn it into action. Commit to extracting one tangible lesson from every setback. Make it a rule for yourself. Maybe it's patience, maybe discipline, maybe the courage to try again. Seneca said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." The end of what you thought was a failure is actually the beginning of something stronger, wiser, more resilient. You have to see it that way. Every time you confront disappointment, challenge yourself to identify at least one constructive takeaway. Don't just skim the surface. Go deep. Ask yourself, how can I grow because of this? How can I turn this into fuel instead of regret? Another exercise is to verbalize the lesson. Say it out loud. I did not fail, I learned. Repeat it. Embed it into your consciousness. Feel the shift in your posture, your mindset, your energy. This practice cultivates a kind of inner immunity, a mental resilience that protects you from being crushed by circumstances. And over time, your perspective transforms. Challenges no longer frighten you, they intrigue you. You no longer dread mistakes, you anticipate their wisdom. This is the subtle but powerful Stoic alchemy at work. So, as you rebuild yourself from nothing, start by changing your narrative about failure. Don't let it define you. Don't let it paralyze you. Let it teach you. Let it carve a sturdier foundation beneath your feet. You are not the sum of what went wrong. You are the sum of what you choose to learn, what you choose to practice, what you choose to become. Embrace the lessons hidden in every loss and watch as what once seemed like defeat becomes the raw material for your greatest transformation. Number 8, practice daily self-awareness and mindfulness. Imagine waking up tomorrow and feeling completely in tune with yourself, not because life suddenly handed you clarity, but because you trained your mind to notice, observe, and understand every thought and feeling that rises within you. That's the power of daily self-awareness and mindfulness. Once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." The strength he's talking about doesn't come from ignoring life's chaos. It comes from knowing yourself so intimately that nothing external can unsettle you without your consent. When you commit to daily self-awareness, you begin to see the patterns of your mind, the impulses, the anxieties, the self-judgments. You catch yourself before you spiral into frustration or resentment. You notice the small moments when your mind drifts to comparison, to envy, to regret, and you gently steer it back, as a sailor navigates a ship through rough waters. Start small. Set aside just a few minutes each morning to sit quietly, close your eyes, and simply observe. Don't judge your thoughts, don't push them away. Notice them as if they were clouds drifting across the sky of your mind. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Why does this thought hold power over me? Where is my attention wandering? Over time, this practice sharpens your awareness like a blade. Seneca reminds us, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. Mindfulness trains you to inhabit the present fully, to notice the choices you make in every moment, and to redirect your energy toward actions that rebuild and strengthen you. But self-awareness isn't just passive observation. It's an active engagement with your inner life. You can journal daily. Ask yourself tough questions. Where did I act from fear today? When did I let pride or irritation take the wheel? What thoughts fueled my happiness or my misery? Writing these reflections down makes them concrete. You can see your patterns forming, understand the triggers that pull you off course, and begin dismantling them, brick by brick. Every insight is a small victory. Every recognition of a fleeting impulse you no longer allow to control you is a step toward mastery. Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them." When you cultivate mindfulness, you take control of your views, your judgments, and ultimately your life. You can also anchor your mindfulness throughout the day, not just in quiet reflection. Before responding to a message, before reacting to a comment, before letting stress overtake you, pause, breathe, ask yourself, is this thought or action in line with the person I want to be? Is it aligned with reason, virtue, and strength? This is the essence of self-awareness, catching the automatic responses that have ruled you for too long and replacing them with conscious, deliberate choices. Over time, these pauses reshape your mind, your habits, and your responses. They are small, powerful acts that compound into remarkable resilience. Remember, mindfulness is not about perfection, it's about presence. You won't catch every thought and you won't control every impulse at first. But the very act of practicing, of paying attention to your inner world, is transformative. Every day you commit to observing yourself, to questioning your reactions, to noticing your patterns, you rebuild your inner foundation. You strengthen the fortress of your mind, brick by brick, thought by thought, choice by choice. By embedding mindfulness and self-awareness into your daily routine, you take the first, crucial step toward reconstructing your life from nothing, not by external circumstances, but by mastering the only thing you truly can, yourself. Number 9, surround yourself with virtuous and supportive influences. Imagine for a moment the people you allow into your life as mirrors that either reflect your best self back at you or distort it into something unrecognizable. The truth is, your environment and the company you keep shape the architecture of your mind far more than you often realize. Stoicism teaches us, through the wisdom of Epictetus, that is it not a great thing if, when all around you are lost in anger, you can remain calm? The ability to remain steady, to rebuild yourself from nothing, is amplified when the influences around you are aligned with virtue, wisdom, and encouragement. You cannot expect to rise from the ashes if the air you breathe is thick with cynicism, envy, or the constant tug of negativity. These influences are subtle. They creep into your thoughts, erode your confidence, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, shape your decisions. Choosing carefully who and what you let near your mind is not just a recommendation. It is a necessity. Start paying attention to the tone and values of those around you. Ask yourself, does this person encourage my growth or do they anchor me to stagnation? Reminds us that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If your thoughts are continually shaded by pessimism or distraction, your own soul reflects that hue. So, actively seek those who inspire clarity, discipline, and resilience. But this is not about surrounding yourself with perfection. It's about surrounding yourself with people and ideas that elevate the way you think and act. Make it a practice to identify one interaction each day that lifts you, one conversation that nudges you toward patience, courage, or wisdom, and notice how your own mindset begins to shift. A practical exercise you can start today is simple but profound. Write down the names of the people, media, and recurring conversations that occupy your mental space. Evaluate them honestly. Do they reinforce constructive habits, or do they invite unnecessary drama? Then, make conscious adjustments. This could mean spending more time in reflection, absorbing philosophical texts, listening to voices that model calm rationality, or even limiting engagement with those who thrive on negativity. Each small step compounds. Over time, the cumulative effect of these virtuous and supportive influences becomes like fertile soil, allowing the seeds of your new self to take root and flourish. Also, cultivate a habit of dialogue with yourself that mirrors this same virtue. The Stoics consistently emphasized self-guidance, reminding you that your inner conversation should not be less disciplined than your external company. Challenge yourself daily. When you feel frustration, instead of indulging it, ask how a wise and calm person would respond. When envy rises, consciously redirect your attention to your own path and your own work. Every internal correction strengthens your ability to navigate life's trials without being dragged down by harmful influences. This internal alignment is your safeguard, ensuring that even when negative forces are unavoidable, your mind remains anchored, resilient, and capable of rebuilding. Remember, rebuilding yourself from nothing is not a solitary struggle, but an orchestration of your environment and your inner life. By curating the company you keep, the ideas you consume, and the conversations you entertain, you are actively engineering a landscape in which growth is inevitable. You're not passively waiting for better circumstances. You're crafting a life where virtue and support are not occasional visitors but constant companions. So take action now. Examine your influences, make deliberate choices, and allow the steady, reinforcing presence of virtuous guidance to accelerate your rise. Little by little, thought by thought, action by action, you will find that the scaffolding of your new self is no longer fragile. It is built upon principles, discipline, and the enduring power of wisely chosen company. Number 10, commit to small, consistent actions over time. Imagine starting over. Not a little tweak here or there, but a full reset, a blank page, a new chapter. It's daunting, isn't it? But here's the truth. No monumental transformation happens in a single stroke. As reminds us, no man is happy who does not think himself so. Happiness, mastery, strength, they all come from the small, deliberate steps you take consistently, even when the world feels heavy against you. Commit to small, consistent actions over time, and watch as the seemingly insignificant choices you make every day compound into something unshakable. You might be tempted to look for a grand gesture, a massive overhaul that instantly proves your worth or changes your trajectory. Stoicism teaches us otherwise. Seneca wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." What he means is that each minor intentional act, waking up 10 minutes earlier, setting one clear goal, reflecting quietly on your thoughts, matters. When you embrace this, the enormous task of rebuilding yourself from nothing becomes less intimidating. You don't need to climb a mountain in a single day. You simply need to take the next small step, and the one after that. Here's a practical way to make it real. Pick one habit that feels manageable, something you can repeat every single day without fail. It might be as simple as journaling one reflection each morning or practicing a single mindful breath before you respond to stress. The key is consistency, not intensity. Focus on the rhythm, the repetition, the momentum. Each time you do it, no matter how minor it feels, you're engraving strength and discipline into the architecture of your life. Remember Epictetus' words, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." It's not about grand declarations. It's about showing up for yourself again and again, letting the small acts stack quietly until they reshape your reality. Another way to cement this habit is to link it to something you already do. If you make coffee every morning, let that ritual be the trigger for a short reflection on your goals or a moment of intentional breathing. These tiny, anchored actions create a chain that gradually pulls you forward. You'll start noticing that days when you skip even one small habit feel strangely off, like a rhythm broken. That's your progress whispering to you. The magic isn't in one perfect day. It's in the repeated commitment, the everyday weaving of effort into your life. And don't underestimate patience. The Stoics remind us that nature and life itself move in gradual increments. Time is a river, a violent current of events, glimpsed once and already carried past us, wrote. You can't force the river to pause, nor can you sprint against its flow. What you can do is step into the current, move deliberately, and trust that the water will carry the consistent, persistent actions you take toward the life you're rebuilding. Your commitment to small, steady steps isn't mundane. It's powerful. Each choice, each repeated action is a brick laid in the foundation of a life you design deliberately, intentionally, and resiliently. So start now. Pick that first small action and do it today. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait until motivation strikes. Motivation is fleeting. Action is enduring. Do one thing, then another, and then another. Soon you'll look back and realize that what once felt like nothing, the tiny, repetitive acts, have become the solid pillars of a self rebuilt, stronger than before. This is the Stoic path, patient, persistent, and quietly unstoppable. Each day, each step, brings you closer to the person you're capable of becoming. And it all begins with your unwavering commitment to take action, no matter how small. And there you have it, 10 Stoic rules to rebuild yourself from nothing. Remember, the power to rise isn't found in luck or in waiting for the perfect moment. It's in mastering your mind, in controlling what you can, and in letting go of what you cannot. Every setback, every failure, every moment of doubt is an opportunity, a chance to rebuild stronger, wiser, and more resilient than before. If you take even one of these rules to heart, practice it daily, and let it guide your actions, you're already on the path to transformation. The question now is whether life knocks you down. It's whether you'll stand up and rebuild yourself, step by step, day by day. So if this video sparked something inside you, don't let it fade. Rewatch it, take notes, and start applying these rules today. And if you want more Stoic strategies to turn hardship into strength, make sure to check out the rest of our content. You won't want to miss what comes next. Your journey doesn't end here. It begins now. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. What if I told you that 99% of men completely miss this one simple habit that instantly makes women notice, and even secretly love you more? It's not about flashy moves, fancy words, or trying to be someone you're not. It's something deeper, rooted in how you carry yourself and respond to the world, something the ancient Stoics mastered centuries ago. Most men chase after superficial tricks, but the real game changer lies in a quiet, powerful mindset that most overlook. Imagine having that calm confidence, that magnetic stillness, that effortless way of being that naturally draws women in without you having to say a word. This video is your key to unlocking that rare trait, the Stoic secret that 99% of men ignore but women can't help but admire. Stick with me until the very end, because I'm going to break it down step by step. You'll learn how to embody it yourself and see the difference immediately, not just in attraction, but in your entire presence. Don't skip a second. The full impact only hits when you grasp every part. Let's dive in and reveal what most men never even try to understand. Number 1, demonstrating unwavering loyalty and consistency. Listen closely, because this is where most men miss the mark, and where you have the chance to stand out in a way that women deeply notice and appreciate. It's not about grand gestures or flashy words. It's about unwavering loyalty and consistency, a steady flame in a world of flickering distractions. Women are drawn not to those who change with every breeze, but to those who stand firm, who show up day after day, steady and true. This isn't a show you put on. It's a state of being you cultivate. Stoicism teaches us that true strength lies in discipline and perseverance. Reminds us, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. That's your call to action. Be the man whose loyalty doesn't waver when things get tough or when attention shifts elsewhere. You need to understand that loyalty isn't a one-time offer or a momentary decision. It's a habit, a way of living. It's about aligning your words and actions so tightly that trust becomes inevitable. Imagine how magnetic you become when she knows, without question, that you are consistent in your character and your care. This reliability isn't boring, it's deeply attractive. It signals a calm confidence that doesn't need to prove itself constantly. You're not playing games or sending mixed signals. Instead, you're showing a quiet resilience, a steady heart that doesn't falter. Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly, and loyalty is no different. It grows through deliberate practice, through countless small moments where you choose to stand by your principles and your people." Start by examining your daily habits. Are you someone who follows through? Do your actions mirror your promises? If you want to build that unshakable loyalty, you have to start small and be relentless. This means being punctual, keeping your word, and showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's the little things, consistent attention to what matters, remembering details, being present, that build a fortress of trust. When you are reliable in these simple ways, you create a foundation that withstands storms. The key is not perfection but persistence. Keep showing up. Keep choosing loyalty when it's easier to drift or disconnect. This kind of steadfastness does something profound in the dynamic between you and her. It creates safety, a rare and powerful feeling that women instinctively seek. It tells her that you are not just in it for the good times but ready to navigate whatever comes with calm assurance. And this, more than any flashy charm or momentary passion, makes you unforgettable. When she feels this kind of dependable loyalty, it sparks a connection rooted in respect and genuine care. It's the silent promise that you won't abandon the relationship when challenges arise. To cultivate this, practice daily exercises that build your discipline and presence. For example, commit to one small act of reliability every day. It might be sending a thoughtful message without being asked or simply listening fully when she speaks. These actions aren't grand, but they compound. They reinforce the mindset that loyalty is an active choice, not a passive state. Remember Seneca's words, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." Be present in your loyalty now. Show it consistently, without hesitation or doubt. You're forging a version of yourself that others can lean on, that others trust, and that commands respect without demanding it. This isn't about being perfect, it's about being real, dependable, and grounded. Women notice this. They feel it deep down, even if it's unspoken. And here's the Stoic secret. Loyalty isn't something you do for them, it's something you become. By embodying this steadfastness, you're not only improving your relationships, you're mastering yourself. And in mastering yourself, you become the kind of man women don't just like but deeply admire and want to be close to. So take this seriously. Practice loyalty as a daily discipline. Show up, be steady, be true. The payoff isn't just in her admiration, but in the calm confidence you'll carry with you through every part of your life. This is the kind of man who leaves a lasting impact, not by chasing affection, but by being unshakably loyal and consistent every single day. Number 2, maintaining calm and steady emotional control. Here's a truth that most men completely miss. Women are deeply drawn to a man who can maintain calm and steady emotional control. It's not about suppressing your feelings or pretending you're unshakable like some kind of robot. It's about mastering your inner world so your reactions don't run wild like a storm at sea. Imagine yourself as the calm harbor where the chaos of the outside world meets peace. This is what real emotional control looks like, and it's one of the most magnetic traits you can develop. The Stoics had it right when Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When you embody this, you signal strength without aggression, presence without tension, and confidence without arrogance. You need to understand something essential. Emotional control isn't about bottling up or ignoring your feelings. It's about recognizing them, feeling them fully, and then choosing how to respond with intention rather than impulse. This takes practice. It takes self-awareness. And it requires you to slow down in moments where most men speed up in reaction. When you feel irritation creeping in or anxiety rising, instead of snapping or withdrawing, take a deep breath. Pause. Acknowledge the feeling without judgment. Then decide the best way to act. That pause, just a brief moment, is a game changer. It transforms you from a man who's tossed by every wave into the steady captain of his ship. Here, something you can start doing today. Practice this deliberate pause in low-stakes moments. When someone cuts you off in conversation, don't rush to react. Instead, breathe and silently remind yourself, this doesn't control me. When frustration builds over something small, tell yourself, I choose my response. Over time, these small acts of control build muscle memory for your mind and emotions. Soon, you'll find that even in bigger challenges, your calm doesn't crack. You hold your ground. You stay steady. And that steadiness is incredibly attractive because it creates safety and trust. People want to be around someone who doesn't make every little thing a crisis. Said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. This means the world throws all kinds of nonsense your way every day, but none of it has to shake you unless you let it. When you keep your emotional center solid, you show a deep kind of resilience that draws people in naturally. Women, in particular, notice this. They sense when a man can stay composed through uncertainty and stress. It signals to them that you're reliable, trustworthy, and confident, not because you boast or try hard, but because you simply are. Imagine the difference it makes when, instead of reacting with irritation or desperation, you respond with calm and clarity. You don't feed the drama, you diffuse it. You don't get pulled into emotional chaos. You navigate through it with steady hands. This isn't a weakness, it's a profound strength. It tells her you can handle whatever life throws at you, and that creates a magnetic pull. You become someone she can count on. Someone whose presence soothes rather than excites anxiety. One practical exercise you can try is mindfulness meditation, even for just a few minutes a day. This practice sharpens your awareness of your thoughts and feelings, helping you catch emotional surges before they take over. Another simple habit is journaling at night, writing down moments where your emotions ran high and reflecting on how you could respond differently next time. These tools train your mind to stay calm, steady, and intentional. Remember, this is a skill. Like any skill, it improves with practice, patience, and persistence. Don't expect perfection overnight. Instead, commit to becoming the kind of man who controls his emotions instead of letting them control him. Because when you do, you unlock a secret weapon in the game of attraction and life. You become a calm force in a noisy world, and women absolutely love that. Number 3, practicing deep, active listening without distractions. Listen closely, because this might be the most overlooked secret in your arsenal: deep, active listening. Most men think they're listening, but their minds are wandering, distracted, or already crafting a reply before she's even finished speaking. That's exactly why 99% of men miss the mark, and why women notice when you don't. When you practice deep, active listening without distractions, you're doing more than just hearing words. You're showing that her thoughts, feelings, and presence truly matter to you. This kind of attention isn't just rare, it's magnetic. Reminded us, nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. When you learn to quiet your internal chatter and focus fully on her, you create a sacred space where genuine connection can flourish. You have to get intentional about this. It's not enough to just be physically present while your mind drifts to your phone, your to-do list, or the noise around you. That doesn't count as listening. True listening demands your full engagement. When she speaks, you don't interrupt, you don't rush to fix or solve, and you don't plan your next statement. Instead, you tune into the rhythm of her voice, the subtle shifts in emotion, the meaning between the lines. This takes discipline. a discipline that mirrors the Stoic ideal of mastering your impulses and focusing your attention where it matters most. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." The wisdom here is simple. You win by listening more and talking less. So how do you train yourself to listen deeply? Start by eliminating distractions. Put your phone away, turn off the noise. Physically orient yourself toward her, look into her eyes, soften your face, relax your body. When you do this, you're not just passively absorbing words, you're actively receiving her presence. Your silence becomes an offering. Your calmness, a signal that she is safe to open up. And it's not just about what she says. It's about how she says it, the emotions beneath the words, the pauses and breaths that reveal her inner world. When you pay attention to these subtle cues, you build an unspoken trust that she feels deeply. This is a practice you cultivate, like a muscle that strengthens with use. Try this exercise. During your next conversation, count to 3 silently after she finishes speaking before you respond. That brief pause may feel awkward at first, but it's a powerful way to stop your mind from rushing ahead. It forces you to stay present and shows her that you value her words enough to let them fully settle. Over time, this slows your mental chatter, deepens your focus, and sharpens your empathy. You become someone who's not just heard, but truly understood. The impact. Women sense this attentiveness. It's like a quiet magnetism that pulls them in without effort or showiness. You demonstrate respect not by grand gestures, but by the simple act of being fully there. The Stoics teach us to accept things as they are, but that doesn't mean you passively drift through conversations. Instead, choose to be fully engaged with the reality before you. As Seneca said, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. When you listen deeply, you're savoring the present moment, the most genuine form of connection. This habit ripples into all areas of your life. When you truly listen, your responses become more thoughtful, your relationships more authentic, and your presence more commanding. You become a man who doesn't just hear words but understands people, a rare quality that naturally draws women toward you. So take up this challenge today. Put away distractions. Slow your mind. Open your heart and ears fully to what's being shared. Practice this consistently and watch how your connections deepen, your confidence grows, and your life transforms. Because the man who masters the art of deep, active listening holds a power that no flashy words or superficial charm can match. Number 4, showing genuine humility and admitting mistakes. There's a simple truth many men overlook, and it's something women deeply notice. When you show genuine humility and admit your mistakes, this isn't about weakness or apologizing just to appease. It's about real strength, the kind that comes from owning your flaws without ego getting in the way. Reminded us that the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. When you admit where you've gone wrong, you're not just clearing the path, you're transforming the obstacle into an opportunity to grow, to become better, and to show the kind of integrity that women instinctively respect. Admitting mistakes isn't a public declaration of failure. It's a quiet, powerful act of honesty with yourself and with others. It requires courage to say, "I was wrong," and even more courage to learn from that moment and move forward without defensiveness. Too often, men feel pressured to be perfect, to maintain an image of control and competence at all times. But that facade can crumble under the weight of unrealistic expectations, and ironically, it pushes people away instead of drawing them closer. Women see through pretense. They appreciate a man who is grounded in reality, who can face his shortcomings with calm acceptance rather than denial or excuses. You have to practice this kind of humility like a muscle. It starts by being mindful of your reactions when you're confronted with feedback, criticism, or a clear sign you've made a mistake. Don't rush to defend yourself or justify your actions. Pause. Reflect. Consider the possibility that the fault might be yours, not as a blow to your ego, but as a chance to improve. Epictetus taught that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Your response shapes your character more than the mistake itself. If you respond with openness and accountability, you're building trust and respect, cornerstones of any meaningful connection. Try this exercise. The next time you realize you're wrong or have hurt someone unintentionally, take a moment before reacting. Breathe deeply. Then speak honestly. Say, "I see now that I was mistaken. I'm sorry." Simple words, but they carry weight because they come from a place of authenticity. Over time, this practice rewires your mind to see mistakes not as threats, but as opportunities to deepen your self-awareness and your relationships. It's a mark of true confidence, not insecurity. When you consistently show that you can admit fault without losing composure, you demonstrate a mastery over your own pride. This mastery is magnetic. It signals that you are emotionally mature, capable of growth, and willing to be vulnerable in a way that feels safe for others. This is the kind of humility that isn't about lowering yourself. It's about standing tall in your truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Women are drawn to this strength, this clarity, this realness that defies the usual bravado many men display. Remember, humility is not submission. It is freedom from the chains of ego. It frees you to connect on a deeper level and invites others to do the same. To quote Seneca, "No man was ever wise by chance." Wisdom requires you to admit when you do know, when you have erred, and to adjust accordingly. This is not just good for relationships, it is good for your own peace of mind. You owe it to yourself to cultivate this habit. Start small, practice daily honesty with yourself, and extend that honesty outward. Watch how your presence shifts when you no longer hide behind perfection but embrace the fullness of your humanity. Women will notice. They will appreciate not only your honesty but your willingness to grow, to evolve, to be a man who is real and reliable. This is the rare quality that 99% of men overlook, and it's exactly what makes you unforgettable. Number 5. Prioritizing actions over empty words consistently. Here's a truth that cuts straight through all the noise. Women don't just listen to what you say, they watch what you do. Words, they're cheap. Anybody can promise, claim, or flatter. But when your actions back up your intentions, that's when trust is built, respect is earned, and genuine attraction takes root. Stoicism teaches us that virtue isn't in talking about being good or strong, it's in living it. Reminded himself daily, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. That means it's time for you to stop spinning stories and start living the story you want others to believe. You might think expressing yourself through grand speeches or elaborate promises shows confidence, but without follow-through, it rings hollow. You want to be the man who walks his talk, not the one who dazzles with words but leaves a trail of disappointment. Women are wired to notice consistency, reliability, and the quiet strength behind deliberate actions. When you act with intention, showing up when it matters, keeping your word, taking responsibility without excuses, you're building something far more valuable than a clever line. You're building a reputation rooted in integrity and authenticity. This isn't about perfection or never slipping up, it's about commitment. When you prioritize what you do over what you say, you are sending a clear message. You respect yourself and others enough to be dependable. Epictetus said, "Well-being is attained little by little, and nevertheless is no little thing itself." The little things you do daily, keeping promises, showing up on time, following through on plans compound. They create a foundation of trust that no words alone can achieve. Every consistent action you take strengthens your presence, making you someone who is not just heard but felt. To turn this into a habit, start by auditing where your words haven't matched your actions. Are you making promises you can't keep? Do you say you'll call or text but don't? Begin small. Commit to doing what you say, no matter how minor the task. Set realistic intentions and follow them through. If you tell someone you'll meet them, be there, not just physically but mentally and emotionally. The power of showing up consistently will surprise you. It becomes a magnet, quietly drawing people closer because it demonstrates you're reliable and grounded. Another way to live this truth is by focusing on what you can control. You can't always influence how others respond or what they think, but you can control whether you act with honesty and discipline. Seneca taught that no man is free who is not master of himself. Mastery of yourself means mastering the gap between your words and your actions. Close that gap daily and watch how it changes not just how others see you, but how you see yourself. Finally, build rituals that reinforce this principle. Before you make a promise, pause and consider if you can realistically keep it. When you finish a task, reflect on whether you gave it your best effort. When you communicate, focus on clarity and truth, not on impressing. These small shifts develop a habit of prioritizing substance over show. Over time, you become a man whose actions do the talking, whose presence speaks louder than any speech. This is the secret that 99% of men overlook, and it's why women find it so attractive. It's not flashy or loud, it's steady, reliable, and authentic. It's the quiet power of integrity lived daily. So start now. Make your actions your words. Live with the conviction that your deeds will echo louder than your promises. This is how you build trust, command respect, and become unforgettable. So here's the truth. Most men overlook this simple, powerful move, and that's exactly why it stands out so much. When you start mastering this, you're not just becoming more attractive, you're stepping into a higher version of yourself. Remember, it's not about chasing validation. It's about embodying confidence, calm, and authenticity. That's the Stoic way. If you found value in this, don't just watch once. Watch it again, take notes, and begin applying it today. Your mindset and presence will shift, and trust me, women notice that energy more than words ever could. Hit that like button if this spoke to you, and subscribe for more wisdom that cuts through the noise and helps you become the man you're meant to be. Stay calm, stay steady, and keep walking the Stoic path. I'll see you in the next video. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. What if I told you that the most powerful way to leave a lasting impression on a woman isn't through flashy words, grand gestures, or trying to win her approval, but by mastering something far deeper and more profound? Imagine having the ability to create an unshakable psychological mark on her, one that stays with her long after the moment has passed, quietly influencing how she sees you and herself around you. In today's video, we're diving into the timeless wisdom of Stoicism to reveal exactly how you can achieve this. It's not about manipulation or playing games. It's about cultivating a presence so authentic and grounded that it naturally commands respect and attraction. Stick around till the very end, because I'm going to share practical, actionable steps rooted in Stoic philosophy that anyone can apply immediately. These are the kind of insights that will transform how you relate to her and to yourself forever. If you want to stand out in a way that truly matters, this video is for you. Ready to make your mark? Let's get started. Number 1, practice unwavering emotional calmness. If you want to leave a permanent psychological mark on her, one of the most powerful things you can do is practice unwavering emotional calmness. It's not about suppressing your feelings or pretending you're some unshakable statue. No, it's deeper than that. It's about mastering your inner world so that no external chaos can rattle your core. When you can remain calm in the storm, you become an anchor, a steady presence that naturally draws others in, especially her. Imagine the impact of someone who doesn't lose their cool, who listens with clarity, and who responds thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. That's magnetic. That's unforgettable. You need to realize that emotional calmness isn't just a nice-to-have trait. It's a skill you must train relentlessly. The Stoics knew this well. Epictetus taught that it's not events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Your calmness comes from your ability to control your perceptions and not let external happenings dictate your mood. You have the power to choose your response. That choice is the key. So the next time something tries to push your buttons, maybe a tense conversation or an unexpected challenge, remember this: your peace is yours to keep if you refuse to give it away. Now let me challenge you to act on this. Start small. When you feel frustration or anger bubbling up, don't rush to express it. Instead, pause, take a deep breath. Observe the sensation like a scientist, not a victim. Ask yourself, is this feeling serving me? Does reacting now move me closer to the person I want to be? Practicing this moment of restraint builds your emotional muscle. It trains your mind to stay centered when everything around you is spinning out of control. This habit won't just help you manage emotions, it will transform how she perceives you. You'll become that rare man who is calm, confident, and composed no matter what life throws at him. There's another reason this matters so much. When you maintain emotional calmness, you create a safe space for her. She'll notice how different you are from the reactive, unstable types who get tossed around by every little thing. Instead of being another source of drama or anxiety, you become a refuge, a place where she can breathe, relax, and be herself without fear of emotional explosions. This kind of presence is priceless, and it's exactly what leaves a lasting psychological mark. Because when someone feels safe and understood in your presence, their mind and heart naturally tether to you. But don't fool yourself into thinking this comes easy or overnight. Emotional calmness requires consistent practice. It's like forging steel. It takes heat and pressure. Daily reflection can help. At the end of each day, take a few moments to review your emotional responses. Where did you hold steady? Where did you falter? How can you improve tomorrow? Journaling these insights can deepen your self-awareness and accelerate your growth. Remember words. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. This strength isn't just for you. It radiates outward, impacting everyone around you. Finally, understand that emotional calmness doesn't mean you're cold or indifferent. It means you're deliberate and mindful. You feel deeply, but don't let those feelings control you. You respond instead of react. You lead instead of follow. You embody the Stoic ideal of a sage, someone who stands firm like a rock while the waves crash around him. When you become that man, she won't just remember you. She'll respect you, trust you, and be drawn to you in a way that words can't capture. So start right now. Practice breathing, practice pausing, practice observing your emotions without judgment. Make emotional calmness your mission. You owe it to yourself and to her. When you do, you leave a mark that lasts far beyond fleeting moments, a mark built on the unshakable foundation of inner peace. Number 2, show genuine self-respect and integrity. If you want to leave a permanent psychological mark on her, not just a fleeting impression but something deep and lasting, then showing genuine self-respect and integrity isn't optional. It's essential. You see, there's something magnetic about a man who carries himself with real honor, who doesn't just talk about values but lives them in every choice he makes. It's a quality that cuts through the noise, because in a world full of superficial gestures and empty promises, authenticity stands out like a beacon. Think about this for a moment. When was the last time you met someone who really respected themselves? Not in a boastful or arrogant way, but quietly confident, steady, and grounded. That kind of self-respect is powerful. It says you know your worth, you set boundaries, and you won't settle for less than what aligns with your values. It's not about perfection, it's about consistency. As Epictetus reminds us, if someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth. Integrity means being honest with yourself and others, even when it's uncomfortable. It means your actions match your principles, no matter who's watching. Now, this isn't just philosophy for philosophers. It's practical and actionable for you. If you want to embed yourself in her mind and heart, you have to become a man she can rely on, a man who acts with honor whether you're under the spotlight or in the shadows. This is the kind of respect that makes her feel safe, admired, and inspired. It's not about grandiose displays or trying to impress. It's about the quiet power of being trustworthy, accountable, and real. Here's a challenge for you. Start noticing how you treat yourself. Are you forgiving your mistakes and learning from them? Are you standing firm on your principles, even when the easier path tempts you? Self-respect begins with how you speak to yourself and how you hold your own boundaries. Practice saying no to what doesn't serve your growth. Practice being kind to your flaws while refusing to let them define you. This daily exercise of integrity will not only build your character, but also make you irresistibly compelling to her. Because, as said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Another practical step: reflect regularly on your decisions. Are they guided by your values or by convenience, fear, or external validation? Real integrity means doing the right thing, especially when it's hard and when no one else is around to witness it. This isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up as your authentic self with courage and humility. When she sees this, she won't just admire you. She'll trust you with her heart, her mind, and her vulnerabilities. You can start right now by writing down what integrity means to you personally. What values are non-negotiable? How can you show respect to yourself in ways that strengthen those values? Make this a habit, a daily reflection. When you embody these principles, you create an unshakable foundation, not just for your relationships, but for your entire life. Remember, Stoicism teaches that your character is your true wealth. It's what remains after all the external noise fades. Show her that you respect yourself enough to live with purpose and authenticity. Make integrity the lens through which you view every interaction. This is how you leave a mark, not just on her mind, but on her soul. And in doing so, you build a legacy of respect that will echo far beyond any moment or conversation. Number 3, listen deeply without trying to fix or judge. If you want to leave a permanent psychological mark on her, one of the most powerful things you can do is to listen. Not just hear, but truly listen, without the urge to fix or judge. This is where so many people trip up. They jump in with solutions or critiques before really absorbing what's being shared. But deep listening is a different skill altogether. It demands patience, presence, and a willingness to set aside your own agenda. When you listen this way, you show her something priceless, that her thoughts and feelings matter exactly as they are, without needing to be changed or corrected. You might think, isn't it helpful to offer advice, to solve her problems? Sure, sometimes it is. But if your default is to jump into fix-it mode, you risk missing the heart of what she's really saying. The Stoics teach us to first understand before acting. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." That's not just poetic, it's practical wisdom. Listening deeply means holding space for her without interrupting her flow or rushing to judge her perspective. It means being fully present with the emotions behind her words, whether they're clear or messy. When you listen without judgment, you communicate acceptance. And acceptance is the soil where trust and intimacy grow. Imagine what it feels like to share your inner world with someone who doesn't try to change you or fix your problems, but simply holds your experience with respect. That kind of listening heals wounds and builds bonds that last. It leaves a mark not through grand gestures, but through the quiet, steady presence of understanding. You want to become that person. So here's a practical step. Next time she talks, resist the impulse to respond right away. Instead, focus on her words and the feelings beneath them. Notice her tone, her pauses, the things she doesn't say outright. Don't think about how you'll reply or what advice you'll give. Just be there. After she's done, try to reflect back what you heard, without adding your own interpretation. This shows her you're tuned in, that you value her perspective. It's a small but profound practice that can transform your connection. And remember, listening deeply is not about being passive. It's an active exercise in humility and patience. You put your own ego aside, recognizing that your role isn't to fix her but to witness her. Reminds us to be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it. Be that steady, grounding presence for her. Challenge yourself today to practice this kind of listening in every conversation, not just with her but with anyone. Notice how it changes the dynamic. You might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to jumping in with solutions or judgments. That's normal. Growth often feels uncomfortable, but the more you lean into deep listening, the more natural it becomes. And the more she will feel truly seen and valued, which leaves a psychological imprint far deeper than words ever could. You hold in your hands the power to create connection, to build trust, to deepen intimacy, all by simply listening without judgment or the need to fix. This is not just advice, it's a practice that transforms relationships and yourself. So start now. Listen deeply. Let silence be your ally. Show up fully. And watch how that presence becomes unforgettable. Number 4, demonstrate consistent, silent strength through actions. If you want to leave a permanent psychological mark on her, the key isn't loud declarations or flashy displays. It's about showing consistent, silent strength through your actions. This kind of strength doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't need to. It's steady, unshakable, and it draws respect and admiration in a way that words never can. When you embody this quiet power, you become a presence she can rely on, a foundation that doesn't waver no matter what life throws your way. You might be tempted to think strength is about dominance or loud confidence, but real strength, the kind that lasts, is calm and steady. Said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. This means that true strength comes from within, from controlling your emotions, mastering your impulses, and acting with integrity, no matter the chaos around you. When you live by this, your actions speak louder than any boast. You don't need to convince anyone of your strength. They see it naturally in the way you carry yourself, in your calm responses, and in your unwavering reliability. Think about it. How often do you meet someone who stays composed under pressure, who listens more than they speak, who acts decisively but without haste or aggression? That silent strength creates a magnetic pull because it suggests confidence without arrogance, control without rigidity. It's a reminder that strength is not about controlling others but mastering yourself. If you want her to remember you, to feel your presence even when you're not around, start by cultivating this kind of strength within you. The question now is, how do you do it? Start with small, deliberate habits. When faced with a challenge, don't rush to react emotionally. Pause, breathe, reflect, respond with intention. Practice resilience by reminding yourself daily that external events do not define you, your reaction does. Make this your mantra: I am steady, I am composed, I am in control. This isn't just Stoic philosophy, it's practical advice that transforms how people perceive you. Next, show up consistently in her life, not through words or promises, but through dependable actions. Be the person who keeps their word, who follows through even when it's inconvenient. This kind of reliability builds deep trust and respect. Remember Seneca's wisdom. It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult. Dare to be the steady rock. Dare to live by your values and let your actions echo them loudly, even if you speak softly. Practice silence too. not just the absence of noise but the presence of calm. Don't feel the need to fill every moment with words. Sometimes, your silence can say more than any speech. Use it to ground yourself and others. When she sees you comfortable in your own quiet, she'll feel drawn to that peace and strength. If you want to deepen this, try a simple exercise every day. Set aside a moment to reflect on your reactions. Where did you lose control? Where did you respond with patience? Write it down if you can. This reflection builds awareness, and awareness leads to mastery. Over time, you'll notice your reactions shifting from impulsive to intentional, from reactive to resilient. Remember, this is not about being perfect, it's about progress. Stoicism teaches that virtue is a practice, not a state. Keep practicing. Keep showing up. Keep being that quiet force she can count on. That's how you leave a psychological mark, not by shouting your worth, but by living it every day, silently, steadily, unshakably. Number 5, embrace vulnerability with controlled honesty. If you want to leave a permanent psychological mark on her, you've got to understand the power of vulnerability, but not just any vulnerability. I'm talking about controlled honesty, the kind that doesn't leave you exposed and shaky, but instead shows strength in your openness. It's a paradox, isn't it? To be strong, you have to let yourself be seen without masks, but do so with intention and balance. The Stoics knew this well. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Vulnerability is about embracing your true self without craving approval, without losing your center. That's the kind of openness that connects on a deep, unforgettable level. You see, when you open up in a way that's honest but measured, you invite her into a world where trust can grow. But here's the catch. Vulnerability isn't about dumping your entire emotional baggage on someone all at once. That's overwhelming and can push people away. Instead, it's about revealing your truth step by step, like peeling layers carefully and thoughtfully. Show her you're human, but also show that you've got your bearings. When you do this, you signal something powerful, that you're comfortable in your skin, you're willing to be real, and you're not afraid of being judged. That creates space for her to drop her defenses and meet you there. Imagine if you could hold your fears, doubts, or insecurities and share them without letting them control you. That's where controlled honesty becomes a tool, not a liability. It's like a muscle you train. Start small. Maybe it's admitting a fear you've been hiding or confessing a moment of weakness. But follow that with your resolve, your plan to grow, or your acceptance of what you can't change. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Your reaction, the way you frame your vulnerability, shapes her impression of you. It's not weakness, it's courage wrapped in clarity. If you want to make this a habit, here's something practical for you. Set aside time daily to check in with yourself. Ask, what am I feeling? What am I avoiding? Journal or speak it out loud. Practice expressing these thoughts in a way that owns them without blaming others or seeking pity. Then share pieces of this controlled honesty with her gradually. Watch how it transforms your connection. When you stop hiding and start sharing authentically, you create an unshakable bond. You become more memorable because few people dare to be that real. But don't forget this, vulnerability requires boundaries. Being open doesn't mean losing your autonomy. It means you choose what to reveal and when, guided by respect for both yourself and her. The Stoics teach us to be masters of our minds and emotions, not slaves. So control your vulnerability like a craftsman shapes his art. Be mindful, be deliberate, and be fearless. You owe it to yourself to start this practice today. The world rewards those who dare to be genuinely open yet grounded. This isn't just about love. It's about becoming a man who stands tall because he's known himself deeply and has the courage to share that knowledge. When you do that, you don't just leave a psychological mark. You leave a legacy of trust and authenticity. And trust me, That kind of impression lingers far longer than any fleeting charm ever will. Remember, lasting impact isn't about grand gestures or empty words. It's about mastering yourself first. When you embody true Stoic strength, calm, and clarity, you become unforgettable. So don't just chase attention. Command respect and leave a mark that time can't erase. If you found value in this, hit like, subscribe, and share to help others unlock the power of Stoicism in their relationships. And drop a comment below. What Stoic principle are you going to apply first? Stay strong, stay steady, and watch how the world begins to notice you in a whole new way. Until next time, keep mastering yourself. Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. Epictetus. What if I told you that with just 2 simple moves, you could uncover her true nature, beyond the masks, beyond the charm, beyond the noise? Imagine cutting through all the guesswork and seeing her authentic self clearly, like a Stoic master who reads the world with unshakable calm. In today's world, relationships often feel like puzzles wrapped in mystery, leaving you second-guessing, anxious, and unsure. But what if there was a foolproof test, grounded in ancient wisdom, that lets you witness her real character without the drama? No mind games, no confusion, just clarity. This video reveals that test, distilled into 2 powerful practical moves inspired by Stoicism, that anyone can use. These aren't tricks or manipulations. They're simple, honest, and effective. Stick with me until the very end, because the full insight will change the way you approach every connection, saving you time, energy, and heartache. Ready to see the truth like never before? Let's dive in. Move 1. Observe her reaction when you remain calm and indifferent in a challenging situation. Here's the thing: when things get tough, when emotions run high, and when the situation challenges your patience, your real character shines through. And not just yours, hers too. The way she reacts to your calm and indifferent demeanor in moments of tension is like a window into her true self. You see, most people expect a reaction: anger, frustration, defensiveness, when the heat is on. But when you remain grounded, unshaken, and steady, it flips the script entirely. This is no accident. It's a subtle test that reveals her genuine nature, her patience, and her respect for you. You might be wondering, why calm and indifferent? Because it's a power move wrapped in humility. It's not about being cold or uncaring, but about mastering your emotions and refusing to be baited. Famously advised, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. When you embody this, you create an unmovable presence. And it's in this presence that you observe how she truly feels. Does she rise to meet your calm, showing understanding and steadiness? Or does she crumble, get defensive, or push harder, revealing impatience or insecurity? This isn't about winning an argument or controlling the narrative. It's about seeing reality clearly, without your own emotions clouding the view. It's about recognizing that when you stop reacting, the mask slips. People's true colors show not in comfort, but in challenge. This insight arms you with knowledge that helps you decide how much energy and trust you invest. You have to practice this deliberately. Next time you face a difficult moment, don't rush to react. Take a breath. Anchor yourself in calmness. Be indifferent, not in a dismissive way, but as a way to stay centered and unshaken. Watch closely. Notice how she shifts. Does she respect your calm, or does she try to unsettle it? This moment of observation isn't just a test for her. It's a powerful habit for you to cultivate emotional resilience. Remember, this practice is not about emotional suppression. It's about emotional mastery. Epictetus reminded us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you train yourself to stay steady in storms, you become a lighthouse, not a ship tossed by waves, and people naturally gravitate toward light and stability. So I challenge you, embrace calm indifference in your toughest interactions. Use it as a mirror to see who she really is, and as a shield to protect your peace. Over time, this simple move will transform not just your relationships, but your entire approach to life's challenges. The question is, are you ready to be that calm force? Because when you are, everything else falls into place. Move 2. Notice how she responds when you set a clear, personal boundary without aggression. Setting personal boundaries is one of the most powerful ways you reveal who you truly are, and it's also the clearest test to see someone else's genuine nature. When you calmly and clearly state what you will or won't accept, without raising your voice or showing aggression, you're doing something deeply courageous. It's a direct expression of your values, your respect for yourself, and your unwillingness to be compromised. The way she responds to this moment, the way she handles your boundary, will tell you volumes about her true character, her respect for you, and the health of the relationship you're building. You have to understand something essential. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They're the lines you draw to protect your inner peace. When you enforce these lines with quiet strength rather than anger or blame, you create a space of honesty and integrity. The Stoics teach us that self-control is a form of freedom. Epictetus said, "No one is free who is not master of himself." By mastering your boundaries, you master your freedom. And how she reacts, that's her moment of truth. Does she respect your boundary and adjust her behavior, or does she push back, test, or dismiss it? Respect isn't about blind agreement. It's about honoring who you are without trying to change or manipulate you. When she respects your limits without turning it into a battle, that's a sign she values you. Not just what you provide or how you make her feel, but the very essence of who you are. That's rare and it's precious. But here's the catch. Setting a boundary is just the start. You must watch her response without rushing to conclusions or reacting emotionally. This is where your inner Stoic steps in. Your job is to observe calmly, to detach from the urge to defend or justify yourself, and simply witness the truth unfolding. The clarity you gain here is invaluable. It cuts through illusions, exposing genuine intentions beneath the surface. I want you to try this. Next time you feel a boundary is needed, take a deep breath, state it clearly and calmly. No accusations, no raised voice. Then resist the temptation to fill the silence with explanation or apology. Observe how she reacts. Does she meet your calm with calm? Does she respect your need without guilt-tripping or pressure? Or does she try to undermine you, test your limits, or provoke a reaction? This is the moment where you learn more about her true self than any conversation or gesture could reveal. Remember, boundaries aren't about controlling others, they're about controlling yourself. They are your anchor in relationships. When you stand firm in your values with quiet confidence, you invite respect, honesty, and mutual growth. The Stoics knew this well. Seneca advised, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." Don't fear setting boundaries. Don't fear the truth that comes with it. You deserve relationships where your boundaries are honored, not questioned or challenged as weaknesses. Practice this regularly. Each time you set a boundary without aggression, you strengthen your self-respect and test the authenticity of those around you. It's a foolproof way to see who is truly aligned with your values and who is not. So start now. Define what's non-negotiable for you. Speak it with calm, steady conviction. Watch carefully. Learn deeply. This simple act will reveal more than months of guesswork ever could. It will show you who deserves your time and energy and who doesn't. And that, my friend, is the foundation for every healthy relationship worth having. Thanks for watching. Now you've got a simple yet powerful way to see beyond the surface and truly understand her real nature. Remember, it's not about manipulation, but clarity. Stoicism teaches us to observe without judgment and respond with wisdom. Use these two moves wisely, and you'll cut through the noise to what really matters. If this video gave you insight, hit that like button and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom that empowers your relationships and your life. Got a story or experience using this test? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear how it worked for you. Until next time, stay calm, stay curious, and keep uncovering the truth beneath the surface.